Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. You are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope your week is going well. Hope you, your family, your friends, everyone in your world is staying strong and healthy right now. And of course, the biggest news of the week is that college football playoff.
Playoffs?
Yes, I know. There are some people upset out there. There are some people that are just flat out angry right now. And I'm not even talking about fans. I'm talking about actual colleges. Here is the college football breakdown as it was released. At number 1, Indiana. They win the Big Ten. They squeak out one over Ohio State. They get the number 1 seed. At number 2, Ohio State. Okay, I mean, you lost about as close as you could, Ohio State. Number 3 is Georgia, who did win the SEC. Number 4 is Texas Tech, winner of the Big 12. Number 5 is an at-large bid Oregon out of the Big 10. At number 6, we have Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss is kind of interesting because remember, they just lost their head coach. At number 7, we have Texas A&M, who has just one close loss. They dropped down to number 7. At number 8, we have the Oklahoma Sooners. Okay. At number 9, we have the Alabama Crimson Tide, who just got blown out in the SEC championship game. Guess that didn't count. At number 10, we have the University of Miami. Again, they've had a couple of bad losses. At number 11, we have another one of the conference winners. That is Tulane. And at 12, we have James Madison, another conference winner. Now, they did say the first team out was the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and the second team out was BYU, who lost in that Big 12 title game and got blown out by Texas Tech. But once again, the College Football Playoff Committee, they do things that don't make sense, and then they say things that don't make sense. You know, they flipped Miami to be ahead of Notre Dame, even though last week, Notre Dame was the one ahead, and neither one of those two teams played this past weekend. Now, Miami did have 2 pretty bad losses. They lost to unranked Louisville, and they lost to unranked SMU. Meanwhile, Notre Dame lost to Miami head-to-head, and they lost to Texas A&M. Both of those are playoff teams. But they also had a much softer schedule. I mean, they beat just 2 ranked teams in USC, who wasn't great, and Pitt, who you probably didn't know was ranked. That head-to-head win apparently carried the day. Miami beat Notre Dame, second game of the year, and that's what got them in. Now, do I think Notre Dame is better than half of the field that's in the playoff? Yeah. Do I think the committee got it right for what is in place right now? Also, probably yes. And Notre Dame immediately, upon hearing the news that they weren't getting in, threw a giant hissy fit and said, well, then we're not going to accept a bowl bid of any kind. Okay. Well, I mean, you're not in a conference. So other teams aren't making money if you do get in a bowl game. So all you did was take less money. No one cares. But it wasn't just Notre Dame. Kansas State, Iowa State, Florida State announced they weren't taking a bowl. Florida State getting a bowl? Not sure how that would work. Auburn, Central Florida, Baylor, and Rutgers all announced they would be declining bowl bids too. Hey, bowl bids are fading away. Bowls are losing their magic. What are we going to do? Yeah, what will we do? God forbid we lose the sanctity of the Weed Eater Bowl and the Pop-Tarts Bowl and the Soggy Cereal Bowl or whatever. Hey, remember, they want this to be pro sports, right? When the NFL playoffs begin, are we crying that the, New York Jets and Cleveland Browns aren't playing in the whatever Slap and Tickle Bowl? No. We say good riddance, better luck next year, and we'll go ahead and focus on the big dogs. Hey, it's your loss. Remember, these schools do get paid to be in bowl games. You want to take less money? Take less money. But I promise you, you and your players will regret this. Now, you can throw a fit. You can kick the Legos across the room if you want. But remember, it's less money for you, and your players get one less experience that they'll never get again. But I mean, you do you. And here's the bottom line. Here's the biggest problem right now in college football. The current conference alignment is flawed because we have these bloated conferences. Think about this. The ACC has 17 teams. The Big Ten has 18 teams. The Big 12 has 16 teams. The SEC has 16 teams. Well, here's the problem. Most of those conferences are very top-heavy. So the schedules can't possibly be equal. That makes this current format really, really difficult. Because not everybody is going to play the same teams, the same competition, the same quality. It just can't happen. So if you didn't make the college football playoff and you felt like you should be in, I'm sorry. Also, I don't really feel that bad for you. Win your games. Hey, Notre Dame, you want to get in? Win. Beat Miami. If they had beat Miami, Notre Dame would have been in. Hey, also, go ahead and join a conference. Oh, you don't want to share money? Okay. Well, then sit at home and watch the other teams play. Here's the thing. I see two things coming, and they're coming very soon. First, the College Football Playoff Committee is probably going to stop releasing those weekly rankings because they just make a fool of themselves, like they did this year, when they were saying all along, here's what we value, here's what we value, here's what we value, and then they change it. Hey, we really like teams that wear blue. We really like teams that wear blue. We really like teams that wear blue. Oh, actually, we like teams that wear red. Okay, what are you doing here? You know what? Just don't say anything and just tell us who gets in. How about that? Also, get ready for like a 2014 playoff because that's coming. Traditional bowl games are going to go away. We're going to get like a 2014 playoff, and that's going to be what it is. Hey, you want pro football? We're getting pro football. So now we get the opening round of games for this college football playoff, which I'm going to say they're going to be kind of interesting. On Friday, December 19th, a week from this coming Friday, number 9 Alabama goes to number 8 Oklahoma. Hey, that's not bad. That is going to be in Norman, Oklahoma. The winner will play number 1 Indiana. That's kind of interesting. Then on Saturday the 20th, we have number 12 James Madison at number 5 Oregon. Good luck going into Autzen Stadium. I promise you, James Madison, you've never been in a stadium quite like that. Winner will go on to face number 4 Texas Tech. Number 11 Tulane will go to number 6 Ole Miss down in Oxford. And the winner of that game will go on to play number 3 Georgia. That could be interesting. And then we have number 10 Miami at number 7 Texas A&M. Also, very interesting game. And the winner will go on to play number 2 Ohio State. Hey, complain all you want about the playoff. Those should be some very fun games. I am still looking forward to that college football playoff. Hey, today on The Dose, I've got something a little bit different for you. And first up, I need to pass along a little information. Because today, December 10th, marks the 11th year anniversary of the Daly Dose Sports Podcast.
Am I a hero? I really can't say, but yes.
Yeah, no joke. The very first episode of The Dose actually aired December 10th, 2014.
Wednesday, December 10th, 2014. You are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly.
And since that very first episode, we have now released, as of this show today, 880 episodes. Hey, we have talked to hundreds of guests. We have released hundreds of Daly Dose Top 5s. We have made fun of LeBron James thousands of times. What is the actual anniversary present for 11 years? Steel? Is that what it is? It's steel? I don't know. I'll get myself a beer fridge, I guess. Anyways, for our anniversary this year, we're going to do something totally different. We're actually going to be joined by a very special guest to talk a little bit about some sports and also to talk about something, let's just say it's just as scary as the Daly Dose being around for 11 years. In fact, we do have so much to get to. We need to get over to it right now. Joining us this week on the Daly Dose, we have a guy that I'm really looking forward to talking to.
because Ryan Rostad is a local guy here in the Denver area, and he is also a local Denver sports fan. We're going to discuss the success of some of our local sports teams. Get mad all you want. We haven't been able to enjoy that this much lately. And then Ryan is actually a guy that has started his own podcast. And it's very, very different from what we're doing here at the Dose, but he's doing some interesting things. And I like to help out fellow podcasters that are doing good work. And I think Ryan is doing that. Ryan Rostad, welcome to the Daly Dose. We are happy to have you here with us today.
I'm super thrilled to be here, Clint. Thanks for having me. Pretty new to the podcast game, so I really appreciate you taking a stab with me here. And of course, Denver sports fans, we got to stick together, right?
Absolutely. And Ryan, are you actually a Colorado native?
Yes and no. I'm a born again native. Let's call it that way.
Okay.
I was born in California. Lived there for a couple of years. Moved here. I've lived here most of my life. Did a little stint in Oregon. Came back here. So yes, while I'm not a true native, I feel like a native and associate like that. So always been Denver sports. I've been one of those guys that have never understood people that could live in the Denver area and root for a team like the Raiders or the Chiefs, the Lakers, all that.
You're exactly right there. Where did you go to school? You're here in Colorado. Where'd you go to school then?
So I went to school, high school at Overland. I did a little time at Metro. So, just all in this little bubble. Lived in Aurora, and I think the furthest I got away from Aurora was like the Lakewood area for a bit. But it's pretty much been this. Overland, and obviously I went to a couple different schools in other states. But go Blazers!
All right. What teams did you grow up rooting for? Was it always Colorado teams? You didn't ever have that outside influence?
So, there was a little outside influence. So, obviously, I mean, Broncos were always day one. Like my mom was and is a massive Broncos fan. So, you know, every Sunday it's just religious. And I carried that over to my family, for better or worse. It's, it's a point of view. As it should be. Yes, exactly. Right now it's good. The previous, 10 years wasn't so good. But
no.
And then obviously, like the Nuggets, when I was growing up, they also weren't very good, but I loved the skyline and was drawn to that. Avs, they were my number one because they came in. I believe I was 7 or 8 or so when they came in. Yeah, so I was able to watch them literally since day one. Haven't been able to do that with the other teams. I guess the Rockies too, but the only other teams I really rooted for, and they've always been secondary, were like the Anaheim Ducks for hockey. They were always my number 2. Yep. And then, unfortunately, the Angels as well. So, but never a Dodger fan, never a Laker fan. When I lived in California, I was actually, I was on the outside of all the friends group because they were all Dodger fans. I was an Angel fan. And, we would do a school field trip to an afternoon Dodger game. And I'm the only one there in Angel stuff. So
nice.
Yeah. So
upsetting LA fans for years then.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, and we are, and I've got to mention this because we are living currently, right now, today, in a pretty nice era. We've got the Denver Broncos sitting on top of the AFC West, playing scary, but playing well, winning games, coming out on top at the end. We've got the Colorado Avalanche, are the hottest team in hockey. It isn't close. The gap from first to second is like the same as the gap from second to like 25. Like the Avs are tearing it up. The Nuggets are banged up. They're injured. But that is a pretty nice roster that they have finally surrounded Nikola Jokic with. And then, we wish we had pro baseball in this team, but we don't. That's all right. We'll live with that.
Hey, the Savannah Bananas came here. Hey, they're here.
Yeah, I did hear that they did that. But our 3 big dogs, hey, we're kind of living in a fun era. An era, I might add, that people had better enjoy because this doesn't happen very often, does it?
No. I was actually thinking about that this morning because obviously the Avs come off a big win last night, and the Broncos, again, you said scary. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. It is a roller coaster every single week, but a fun roller coaster nonetheless. Yeah, you have 3 teams right now that are all in a championship window.
Yeah.
Obviously, if the Avs don't do it this year, it's going to be a disappointment. If the Nuggets, once they get healthy, like you said, they're banged up. They need to play a little defense, but I'm confident they will figure all that out. They have the strongest roster they have had since the 23 team.
Yep.
So again, if they can get through OKC, they're going to do it. OKC is scary, but
yeah, they are, and deep.
but the Nuggets, they have constructed that team to compete with them, at least, on paper. That's what it looks like. And then the Broncos, I guess one team that I did root for that I didn't speak of was the Oregon Ducks. They were always
right.
my college football team because I did spend a little time in Oregon. So I was a Bo Nix guy from the start, which turns into a very heated discussion every week on our group chat with the boys because they like to fire me up anytime he makes a mistake. And it's like, hey, you don't talk about our Lord and Savior, Bo Nix, like that, all right?
Exactly. Well, and people, and I understand, I think people were hoping for this massive jump in year 2. It's just that historically, that rarely happens. Guys don't always have a huge sophomore slump and a major dip, but usually they kind of stay around the same and maybe have a little bit of a dip. And when you look at Nix, sometimes in games, people get frustrated and they're like, oh, I wish his footwork was better. I wish he was doing this better, whatever. That's all well and good. Look at his record. Look at actually statistically what he's doing. Bo's going to be fine. He's got to figure some things out, but he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, he and having watched him through college and kind of knowing his style and what works,
can be
what
good
doesn't.
Bo and bad Bo, yeah.
Exactly. And I think he and Peyton need to get on the same page because there is some I'm in the camp of Sean Payton is not putting him in the best possible situation to succeed all the time.
There are times that's true, yeah.
And when it gets to the fourth quarter and you have less time to think, the playbook gets dumbed down. Yep. And then obviously that's when he succeeds. And, I obviously would rather have a quarterback that is absolute trash for 3 quarters and puts it together in the fourth than the other way around, because that's where you get the wins.
You're right.
People have compared him to Tebow. I think he is a Tebow that can actually throw.
Well, I think he's way more comparable to like a Drew Brees, as weird as that is, because I know it's easy, low hanging fruit with it being Sean Payton, but that's kind of how he plays. And Brees, it takes time. These guys, this is the hardest position in sports, and I know people don't want to hear that. It just is. They talk about, we got to hit a baseball. You can't hit a baseball, different pitches. Yeah, well, you don't have a guy diving at your head when you're trying to hit that baseball. It's different. It's the hardest position in sports. He's still improving. He's still learning. Shoot, I didn't expect us to be this good this fast. I thought we'd have 4 or 5 losses right now and we'd be scrapping for a playoff spot. No, we better enjoy it while we can. And you know this because you are, adopted Denver native here. We're kind of spoiled here. Like
right now, for sure.
Yeah.
We're very spoiled.
You hear people like, well, we barely won. Have you been paying attention the last decade? Barely. Like I'd have killed to barely win for the last decade.
And it's funny because, when the Broncos won Super Bowl 50, I think I and a lot of other Bronco fans were like, all right, this is going to hold me over for a while. We know Manning's out the door, and a while came very fast.
Yes.
It wasn't fun after it seemed like maybe a season. It wasn't very fun.
Well, and especially when you go through that who's who of journeyman horrible quarterbacks, it's painful. It's brutal. And you get spoiled and you're like, well, we'll be okay. And then really, I got to watch this guy. I got to watch Paxton Lynch. Really? Come on. And so it gets tough. Now we get it. And we're winning games and we're losing on style points. That's all right. That's all right. We're going to keep plowing ahead.
It counts the same.
It absolutely does. Do you think anybody's going to remember, way back? Oh, they barely beat this. Who cares? We got to win.
The 2015 team, they were winning games the same way.
And Peyton was not playing very good football.
No, he was a half-dead Peyton Manning.
Yes,
he was on the way out.
That's right.
He was throwing ducks left and right, and Osweiler had to come in and save the day for a few weeks there, and until last week of the regular season, I believe, and then Manning took back over. But yeah, and people will make the comparisons of this year's defense to the 2015 defense, and I can see that on paper. Except the 2015 defense, they were getting multiple turnovers a game. It seemed like turnovers. Now, in the last couple of weeks, turnovers have been getting a little better for this year's defense.
Yeah, if
they could snag a few more here and there, then the comparisons could start. But it's fun to have that conversation because we've been in the in football purgatory.
We've been giving up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins. So yes, you're right.
And I actually saw somebody joke there, like, it's funny that game turned around the Broncos and killed the Dolphins.
And killed the Dolphins at the same time, which is just perfect. It couldn't have happened any better. Yeah, we've gotten to see our Broncos ruin a few teams, and the Dolphins, the Giants this year. Hey, these things sometimes happen.
Hey, remember, you should be stopping by DailyDoseSports.com each and every week and checking out the new things we have going on over there. We have links to the podcast, we have links to videos, and we have links to Daily Dose articles. They have a little bit more of a local flavor, but if you saw the one this week, it talked about the Denver Broncos and their remaining schedule going to get a little bit tight over there. Also, remember, you can email the podcast at anytime, dailydosesports@gmail.com. We do hear from listeners regularly, and sometimes they say nice things, and sometimes they say things that they couldn't possibly know about me. I don't appreciate it. Anyways, remember, you can also go over to dailydosesports.com and pick up some Daily Dose gear. You need a t-shirt, you need a hoodie, you need a sweatshirt, you need a baseball cap. We've got it all over there. You can find the links over there at dailydosesports.com. Make sure you stop by there each and every week.
All right, Ryan, you started down a path which has ended up with you starting your own podcast. Take me back. We haven't mentioned exactly what your podcast is about. We're going to get to that. How did this get started? Break down. What is your podcast doing? What's it called? Give me the background.
So the podcast is called the Roasted Snow Horror Show. Obviously, my last name is Roasted. Or it's Rostad. Everybody thinks it's Roasted. It might be Roasted by the end of this. I don't know. Yeah. But my co-host name is Chris Snow. So Roasted Snow. Those kind of play into what we're doing with this show. So obviously, I'm a big sports guy. But my other big passion is movies, and more specifically, it's horror movies. And it's a genre that I've always felt has been a little misunderstood. A lot of people say, hey, I like watching a scary movie, this and that. But there are the times where you are alienated, whether it's in your friends group, whether it's a relationship that you just started. I've had it where I've talked to, a girl I'm dating parents, and they're like, what's your favorite movie? And I'm like, do I really want to tell them?
On a bad path.
Right. And so we wanted to make this spot to have a conversation about horror movies. And because Chris and I, we actually met through a mutual friend. And so we weren't close or anything. He's a great dude, except he's a Packer fan. So,
all right. We'll cut him some slack.
We all make mistakes. It's okay.
Of course.
And we really started bonding, and our friendship really started taking over when we started talking deeply about horror movies. And, a 5-minute conversation would have turned into a 2-hour thing. And so we started thinking, we're like, okay, we got something here. Neither of us have experience in podcasts whatsoever. So it was kind of an idea for a while. And then, timing was bad. And then all of a sudden we just came together and we're like, hey, let's just commit. Let's do this. And let's put our effort into it. And, there's a ton of horror movie review podcasts for everything out there. So we did want to try and make it a little different. So each week we do 2 episodes. On Fridays, it's like a head-to-head matchup style. We take a new release, whatever horror movie is in theaters at the time, and sometimes we have to improv on that because there's like the last movie we covered was Sisu 2, which is more of an action flick. But we put it under the umbrella of, hey, it's a bloody movie. We're talking about it. Whatever. It's our show. We can do what we want. And the newest release faces whichever movie won the previous week. So each week there's a winner. And it is a rolling champion. So and Chris and I, we talk about we just say the movie that we're going to cover and maybe a few little ins and outs. We don't talk about what we thought of that, of the movie. We want the conversation to be as organic as possible. I don't want what I think to influence him and vice versa. It's every episode is hilarious because it's 95% unscripted. So we go off on these random tangents and we will talk all sorts of movies. Like one movie, McLovin came up for some reason, and it ended up being a 20-minute conversation on Superbad. So yeah. And I mean, who doesn't love Superbad? Come on.
Of course. Okay. I want to get your thoughts on some horror movies because I too will, kind of delve into some of these at times, but there are different kinds of horror movies. You've got kind of the slasher movie. You've got, psychological thriller kind of movie. You've got just blood and guts, crazy kind of movie. What makes a great horror movie? And I know I'm asking you a $1 million question, but what is it that actually really makes it a good horror movie?
I'm going to say simplicity.
I'd agree with that.
The ones that I at least gravitate towards, obviously I like the fun ones that are, can be super bloody and, you laugh with your friends about. but there's a lot of movies out there that have started mastering like the subtlety. Like it's the stuff that you don't see that actually really creeps you out. And a movie that I point out to that, and we actually covered it a couple weeks ago, but it's Ethan Hawke's Sinister, and that one, like, there's not a lot of blood in that.
No,
like, it's all implied. There's a lot of off-screen stuff, but that movie to this day is a it's a change your underpants horror for me.
Yeah,
like you gotta that one. So yeah, simplicity is the way to go on that. Now, some movies can go a little more abstract and better effects and this and that. So not dogging them at all, but for me personally, and I've always just been drawn to like slashers too, because I like a good whodunit. If you can have that twist at the very end of the movie, that, like the one I go to, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time, which is weird because the movie sucks for 98% of the runtime, and it's Saw 1.
Oh yeah.
Because the twist at the end of that movie, it spawned an entire franchise.
Right. Right.
I'm a huge Saw fan. I've loved all the sequels, no matter how bad they may be, just because of that love that first one instilled in me.
Well, it's funny because, you talked about the simplicity, the subtlety. My next question was literally, we used to see that in older movies. We actually saw less, but we didn't realize it because we were seeing it in our imagination, which was way worse than anything they could have possibly put on screen. Those subtle scenes, they still are great, though.
Right. Like the Blair Witch Project. That one, you don't see the witch at all. The entire movie. They originally, you were supposed to see the witch in one of the wood shots when they're running, and they didn't catch it on camera. And it ended up being a great blessing in disguise, because if you see the witch, then it could take you right out of it. Maybe it was creepy, maybe it wasn't. We'll never know. But yeah, the stuff that your mind can come up with is a lot scarier than what you can put on film. And I've talked about that in the podcast before. There's a few movies that I have taken down in my rankings because of, hey, you showed this demon way too much. If you showed maybe a slight vision of him or whatever, then that's going to affect me way more. And with this show, it's I don't care why you like a movie or which movie you like. I just want to know why, because something that I like, you may not like. Something that is widely loved, I may hate. So it's a conversation that we get into every week about, movies that, guilty pleasures, this and that. So it's a fun conversation to have every week for sure. But yeah, I would say simplicity, twist endings, getting back to the roots of what horror is.
Well, and you bring up, sometimes it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a movie out there that you look at and it's kind of that PG-13 housewife kind of horror movie that you can say, hey, I can put this on. My wife isn't going to get up and walk away from it. What's your movie that's going to fit that genre that I can put it on? My wife might even sit there and watch it with me.
Well, see, my wife loves horror movies too, so it's a little different. But that is funny because, like, I have put on Sinister and a couple of these other ones that are really scary, and we'll get like 10 minutes in. She's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. One that we actually really like right now is Doctor Sleep from it's from Mike Flanagan. It's the Shining sequel. That's just one that comes out the top of my head. It's one that we're like, hey, let's throw that on. It's good. I mean, it's not PG-13, but again, it's not very gory or anything. It's a lot of exposition, and it plays on the sequel tropes and that. But that's one for sure. And then if it's my 6 and 2-year-old, I'll just put on a Saw movie and we're good.
Let him go crazy.
Hey,
they'll sleep later.
Yeah. Actually, for Christmas one year, I got Saw 10 and Saw X. So I put it upside down so it said Christmas, and had my daughter hold it. It was like, hey, we're watching this tonight. Put it on Facebook, and everybody got a laugh out of it. And then one of my buddies is like, you're not really actually going to let her watch that, are you? And I'm like, absolutely not. You think I'm a horrible father? We're only on Saw 3 right now. She won't know what's going on.
She'd be lost. She totally wouldn't understand what was going on.
Right.
Okay. Speaking of Christmas, I've got an odd one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a holiday horror movie that people are missing out on.
I got the perfect one. It's
all right. I'm ready.
It's called Better Watch Out. And this one is, I believe it's on the Shudder app. I think you can find it maybe on Amazon as well.
Okay.
But it's one that I personally had never heard of until it showed up on some list I was looking at. And I don't want to give too much away because going in blind is the best way to do it for this movie.
Course.
But essentially, it is it's kind of like Home Alone meets Saw. It's not super bloody, so I don't want to give that. But the movie is formatted in a way that you think one thing for the first half, and then the second half completely puts it on its rear end. It's definitely one that I watch every year now at Christmas because
Really? Okay.
I'm like, how did I miss this one for so long?
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Okay, I've got another one for you.
Mhm.
Movies that are widely hated, people don't like them, and you're like, I kind of got a soft spot for that movie. What's the movie that you like that no one else likes?
Halloween Resurrection.
Oh yeah,
That one.
Yep.
So, and that one, like, I can look at it now and say, like, okay, that movie's horrible, but
yeah.
that was the first movie that my brother and I snuck into, R-rated movie that we snuck into.
Okay.
So the whole time we just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And there's this cheap jump scare at the end where his eyes open on a coroner's table, and we couldn't sleep that night because
Of course.
I don't know if we were stressed out because of what we just did or what,
Right.
but every time I closed my eyes, I saw his eyes open. And I mean, this movie is dumb. It has Busta Rhymes in it. Jamie Lee Curtis wanted nothing to do with it, but was contractually obligated to show up for like 5 minutes. And that's my go-to. And I've used that on the show too, because I'm like, if I like that movie,
Yeah.
I don't care what you like, because I just want to know why.
I think when there's a movie that you like, when you're especially that age, that kind of 12, 13 kind of range, you've either got to go back and watch it again and decide, or you've got to like kind of understand your memory's probably at least a little bit flawed. Like every once in a while, you'll go back and watch one and be like, no, it still holds up. Or you'll go back and you watch a movie and be like, okay, I was 12. Like, what do you want?
And there is that fact with Halloween Resurrection. But having said that, I'll turn it on and watch it start to finish. I love that movie.
Okay,
and I don't care.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it.
Mhm.
Is there a movie that is popular that actually does well that you're like, man, this is terrible. I can't watch this.
Oh yeah, there's a few that I'm thinking of. And actually, I mean, Hereditary's one, but it's kind of flipped because I love it, but
Okay.
like everyone I've shown it to hates it.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
the majority of people end up really, really liking it. I guess it's not a one, and it's just because a new one's coming out, but it's not a horror movie, but Avatar. I have never liked Avatar. I saw the first one in the IMAX, the 3D.
See.
Obviously it was beautiful,
Yeah,
but it was like 3.5 hours.
right. That's why I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, "Oh, you haven't seen Avatar?" And I'm like, "No," and I don't want to. Maybe if it was more of a horror movie, maybe I'd watch that. But I'm not wanting. I don't care enough.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you a really difficult question. That's why we have you here, though.
Right.
You don't have to say end all be all, but I'm gonna put you on the spot. Favorite movie ever? I know it's like picking your favorite kid. You have to go down. It's going on, on your website. You're putting it down, saying this is the one. What's the movie you're going with? What hill are you gonna die on?
Scream.
Yeah,
That one.
good pick.
And that one. And again, it's one that I saw way too young, and I shouldn't have seen it.
Sure.
So it's
Sure.
one of those, like you brought up, like you go back and this one still holds up for
It
sure.
holds up.
And this one, though, I mean, this is kind of my introduction to horror too, and maybe it's why I gravitate towards this. It was like I was in elementary school at the time, and we were having a sleepover with a couple of the guys that were on the baseball team, the school baseball team, and the kid that we were staying with, his parents went to bed, and he comes downstairs. He's like, "Guys, Mom and Dad just went to bed. They rented the VHS of Scream," and I'm like, "What's that?"
Oh boy.
And then, so we watched that first scene, and that first scene is so just imprinted in my mind. I was so scared. That was the first time I really felt like fear from a movie. So it was an interesting feeling. And then I kid you not, the moment that first scene is over, the rotary phone rings in his basement. So it took us about, maybe 15, 20 minutes to calm down after that. But we did finish the movie, and and then that led into Scream 2. I don't know how, but my dad let me rent it one time. I don't know how. My mom was probably pissed at him, but and that was, then I fell in love with those characters. And so I always have to go with Scream. I love the sequels that have come from it. Obviously I like some more than others, but just the meta aspect, the writing, especially as I've gotten older, I've been able to appreciate that more. And, because there's jokes you don't get as a kid. Now you're like,
Right.
oh,
Oh,
that's awesome.
that's what they were saying. Yeah.
That's what you meant. So that's probably
That's a
my
great pick.
That's my end all be all. Probably, if you gun to my head, that's what I'm picking.
That's a really, really good pick. Was that was then like the kind of first real horror movie you saw?
Yep, kind
You
of
got a
going
good
in,
one at least.
going in on the deep one early.
Yeah. I saw The Shining when I was very young and had never seen a horror movie, didn't know. And I was like, oh, same thing. Like that, when you close your eyes, that's all you're saying. That's all you're saying. But it kind of, you're either all in or you're, hey, I'm never doing that again kind of thing. It, especially in the formative years when you're younger and you probably saw it a little too early. All right, I got one more for you.
Yep.
The guilty pleasure. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit you like it, but you're going to watch it. You're going to put it on anyway, and you just might keep it to yourself. What's your guilty pleasure horror movie?
My guilty pleasure horror. Well, I mean, Halloween Resurrection. Obviously, we already talked about it, but if I had to pick another one, man, that was a tough one. Let me see, because usually, it's Halloween Resurrection. That's the end of that conversation.
Right.
They're like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You like that movie?
And I still go back to some of those Friday the 13th that I'm like, they're so dumb and they're so campy and they're so idiotic, and I will still watch them. They're on, like I'm gonna watch them. They're dumb. I don't care.
Absolutely. And there, with horror, there are a ton of those movies. I mean, I'm a big found footage guy. I love the found footage genre. A lot of people don't, and I totally respect that. It's not for everybody. There's some really dumb ones out there, and so I can throw on any of those. Just name one. There's one called like Found Footage 3D, and it's about it's about a group of filmmakers making a found footage movie that end up in a found footage movie. So
perfect.
It's stuff like that if it's an hour and a half, I'll throw it on. I know the ending is going to be stupid, but it's always something that I enjoy with that.
That is awesome. All right, Ryan, I want to thank you for stopping by the Daily Dose, but tell listeners, where can they find your work? What can they expect when they get there? Where is the best place to run down your podcast? Give them the name again. Give us your information. What do you have?
So you can find us pretty much everywhere you get your podcasts, except Apple right now. We're working through a thing or two. They're being a little difficult right now, but
they can be difficult.
Spotify, Pandora, Podbean, Amazon Music. We are the Roasted Snow Horror Show. You can email us too at roastedsnowhorror@gmail.com. We have Instagram at Roasted Snow Horror Show, Facebook, X, same name. And once you get to our show, you can expect those weekly matchups for movies that you may or may not have seen. We do a spoiler-free kind of rundown at the beginning of the show, and then tell you to get the hell out of here if you haven't seen it and you want to. Yeah. And then we go deep into the spoilers. We throw in fun sound bites, and again, we don't know where the conversation's going to go. So when I'm editing these episodes, my mind, it just has this endless, bank of random quotes from other movies. Like I'll throw a Happy Gilmore quote in if it fits with the with the podcast. So we just like to have a lot of fun. Obviously, we just talked about we just did an episode on the Evil Dead series, which some of those are funny, some of those are scary, but we like to keep it light. We want new people that haven't been into horror. We want the horror vets, and we just want to start the conversation. So one of the posts that we had on Facebook, I get about 4 new comments a day, and it's a war zone in there between two movies. And sometimes we read them on the show. But yeah, we're slowly growing, and would love any and all support, especially from Denver sports fans. What else could you want?
Of course. Absolutely. Well, Ryan, I want to thank you so much for stopping by the Daily Dose. You are actually appearing on the 11th anniversary of the Dose, but we are happy to reach out and try to help out another podcaster. Keep doing quality work. Keep up the good work, and we will not be strangers. We'll have to keep this up.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on such a great episode. Love it.
Absolutely.
Hey, next week on The Dose, well, we are clearly going to have to take a quick look at the first round of the college football playoffs. Might have a few predictions in those first games, but I am actually also chasing a guest, and this guy has a warning for all college sports fans. He is saying that we could be seeing the death of college athletics as we know it. And he has some solutions as to how to fix it. Trust me, you will not want to miss that interview. So make sure you tune into The Dose next week, and make sure you let a friend know to do the same. Hey, I would like to say thank you so much to
Ryan Rostad
for stopping by the Daly Dose and discussing some sports and some horror movies with us. And I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for listening to the Daly Dose every week. Thank you for the emails, thank you for the texts, thank you for the tweets, but more than anything, thank you for sharing the show, for sharing the videos, and for sharing the articles with someone that you know. We absolutely love it when you do that. And I just would like to thank each and every one of you for the past 11 years. It is truly appreciated. Hey, I have to say thank you to JSP. Could not do any of this without you. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.
Am I a hero? I really can't say, but yes.